I call to order the workshop meeting of the City of Aransas Pass City Council, April 23rd, 2025 at 6 p.m. And we're gonna go straight into staff reports and other discussion items. Mary?
Yeah, the first item is a discussion on the transfer station scale fees, and David Flores will give that presentation.
Evening, Mayor and Council. It's probably been a year since we first talked about this. I know we had some hiccups trying to get the scale installed. We finally got it in. We got a new building. We got it secured. It's AC. We got electrical there. The only thing we're missing is like some Wi-Fi stuff, but we do have computers. Everything's ready to go, so we're locked and loaded to pull the trigger. But I wanted to circle back and reconvene and make sure that we're on the same page on the fees before we actually create an ordinance for this and start implementing this. Do they have the same in front of them? Okay, but they don't have a breakdown, right?
No.
Okay.
Did you need us to make a copy of that?
No, I guess I can go off of this. So this one will be going by weight. I know there was a consensus that we're talking about doing 10 cents a pound for people inside the city limits, or I think it's the ETJ, if I'm mistaken. But anybody outside the city limits or the ETJ would pay 12 cents a pound. And of course, we would have to have a minimum on the fee, because if somebody comes in, we can't be like, okay, it'll be a $2.38 kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? It has to be a minimum weight, and I believe there was it $25? Is that what it was?
Oh, it's $5.
Is it-
I'm sorry,
Is it
it's
$5 is the base fee? Okay, I'm sorry.
It's 2 weights.
Okay, so the scale is a base charge, but it was a scale fee. That's what it is. So it'd be a minimum of $5 charge. So if somebody comes in with a few pounds, the minimum they'll be charged is $5.
Okay. Now, I don't know if you can say now, David, like, I know we talked about, I don't know if you remember, I'm glad you said there's Wi-Fi out there. Is there a way we could handle getting the vouchers out there so people aren't making a trip here to get a voucher? They can just do everything out there?
The vouchers were made per load. Since we're going to be doing it per pound, I don't see how we're going to do the vouchers anymore. I'm not sure how we can implement that. It'd be kind of difficult to be like, hey, we'll give you the first 50 pounds free or something like that.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be too much hassle, to be honest. So that's one con to this situation, is that we would have to get rid of the vouchers.
Gotcha.
The other plus side is that if we are going to go on the per pound basis, I was going to recommend to be open 5 days a week, to be open from Tuesday to Tuesday to Saturday, so that we can now that we're charging per pound, we can actually open up the availability and not just be a Tuesday and Thursday operation.
Oh, I agree, having it open on a Saturday, 100%.
So we'll just be off on Monday and Sunday.
Yeah, but like the fees that you're saying, okay, because in true reality, the transfer station is not there for the city to make money out of it, just to pay for whatever it takes to operate the system.
Yeah.
So what you're saying, the price that you wanna come up with is gonna cover all the expenses to have somebody out there, to be able to pay for their payroll?
Sure.
And all that, because the reason it's there is for the citizens to be able to have somewhere to go dump their trash.
Sure.
And not it be so expensive, because not everybody can afford.
No, definitely.
that.
Okay, so thank you, David. If I may. Okay, right now, to run the transfer station, it costs the city, we don't make any money. It's costing the city about $150,000 a year to run the transfer station. That's negative. Last year, we made $12,000, and it cost us $169,673 to run that transfer station.
Yeah, but that's the reason why I was asking the
Correct.
question.
Yes, sir. So if what he's proposing tonight with the fees, with the 10 cents and the $5 scale fee, I ran a report based on what we took in this past 12 months. Had we had this past 12 months with 2 employees, because right now it's only 1 employee, we would add a second employee, we would reduce the deficit from 169,000, remember we're adding 1 more person, to approximately $30,000. We're not going to make money. We're going to add another employee to facilitate the maneuvering people in there, because I think that, you know, safety reasons, you can't have somebody collecting payment and then somebody directing traffic, and, you know, we don't want somebody to fall in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we need to do away with the vouchers. That's the
Okay.
only drawback. I understand the voucher, I understand where that comes from, but we can't sustain spending, continually spending this money. This money will free up those $130,000, hopefully, in the general fund that we can appropriate to other projects. And that's how we need to look at that. And I think that this is a good proposal that he has come up with. I think that it's taken us a while. Yes, it's that we've encountered some minor issues there, but I think that even adding that one extra person there, dedicated there full-time, would still cost us less than what we're currently doing right now.
That sounds like it'll almost be self-sustainable doing that. Oh,
At some point, yes, like,
Yeah.
our biggest cost is not what it weighs, the stuff that people dump, it's the hauling
Hauling.
fees. So once they get that under control, and I don't know, it's easy for me to say compact it, I don't know what it all entails. It's very easy for me over here in my office to say, let's just press it down, but I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yes. So it's very,
It goes by weight, so we need to maximize the weight that, and the.
On the-
On the dumpster.
on the dumpster.
Because if you only have it half full, you're still paying the same price.
to haul it off.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Once we get that under control and we can even further decrease that number, you'll see that you're gonna maybe break even. But our goal here is not to make money. Our goal is not to make this a revenue stream for the city. Our goal is to free up those funds so that we can appropriate that money for something else. And I think that's what David wanted to do.
Yep.
We're not even gonna break even, to be honest, so there'll be
Yeah.
no profit. I know we're not in the profit business, we're in the service business, but at the same time, we're trying to at least cover the minimum cost of what it takes to operate.
Well, I think you get it going in a few months, you can figure out if you need a tweak on it
Yeah,
somewhere there.
for sure.
Yeah.
And we collect more data, you know, and I'm kind of putting ourselves in the spot here, but let's say we open the 5 days a week, we start collecting data the first quarter, and realize, hey, you know what? The revenue stream is healthy, we can afford to revisit and see if we can go down to 9, 8 cents, whatever the case is. I mean,
Yeah.
what I'm saying is that we can at least reevaluate with real data. Right now, we're just going off of a 2-day week, assumptions, yeah, if this many people come in, whatever the case is, but if we can get some real data, then I don't see why we just couldn't revisit this.
Yeah, because if you go to the transfer station at the county, oh my, I don't know if you see their rates.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I don't know if- oh, Lord, they're pretty high.
Yeah.
You know, but it's the same thing that they say. They're not making money out of it, they're just making sure they're not spending more money than
Yeah.
what they're making to keep, to break even.
Yeah, and we're just trying to provide a service for the community, but at the same time, a lot of these services aren't free for us, so all we're doing is trying to offset some of that cost, so that way these residents can come Tuesday through Saturday and when done. Go ahead, Mr. Constable.
That eliminates the coming here to do anything, they just go to the transfer station.
Yeah, they would just weigh themselves, we print out a ticket, either show a license that you live here, or don't show a license you live here, or just be a rate change. So they just come over there, weigh themselves, print out it, they'll go dump, weigh themselves again, they'll get a ticket for the difference, and then they can pay.
So the
Good deal.
difference is supposed to be the price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if the council's okay with these fees that are being proposed, we can bring it to council at the next council meeting for approval.
Yeah, because we definitely need to break even. Whatever the cost would be,
Mhm.
that's only fair for everybody.
Yes.
I think that Saturday will be a big deal, that'll stop a lot, there'll be a lot less dumping around if that thing's
Yeah.
open on Saturday.
They'll get full pretty
Yeah.
quick.
And with that extra,
Yeah.
on that extra person, we can concentrate more on trying to compact the dumpster, the roll-off, because what's happening is that they're charging us a certain amount. If it weighs 1 ton or 10 tons, you still get that amount. So when you break it down per unit price, if it's not heavy enough, it's a high unit price. But we can compact it, get more weight on it, and sure, we pay more of the dump fee, but in terms of the hauling fee, that unit price starts coming down per ton. And that's what our goal is. But if we can get that extra person, then we can really concentrate on that.
Good deal.
Yeah, a lot of times it's the way the trash is being dumped, you know, sometimes there's large debris and it blocks,
Yes.
you know.
If you throw a couch in there, I
Oh,
mean,
man.
80% of it's space,
Yeah.
you know? So we can use that opportunity to actually crush it in there.
Yeah, I take advantage of that voucher every month.
Yeah.
I get bulk.
Yeah.
It's mostly
I'm good with it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And in this case, now we won't have to restrict people. Now we can have businesses and residents come in, because now it's like, hey, you're charging the same price per pound. If you want to bring junk from your business, hey, you're still going to pay the 10 cents a pound.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And if you don't live here, say, hey, I'm from Odom or I'm from Rockport, you're welcome. Come on, 12 cents.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So now we can open it up to the public and try to clean up as much
Yeah.
as we can.
I agree.
I think it'll entice the community to clean up a little better since we have that avenue.
Yeah. Good deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll bring it back at the May 5th meeting.
I can't wait to get on it.
Now we're gonna go to development fees.
Yes. Yeah, I think the council had asked to revisit these fees, and you do have a handout.
Thank you.
I believe Mary gave you all the handouts, and this is one that will be on the screen. So on here, we have the 2 columns, and it'll have the past fees of what was being charged before and the updated. And as you can see at the beginning, the same has been for the plats, not much changed there. Plat extension request did go up to 200. Hardship variance request was just removed because we placed it somewhere else in the list system. Plat appeal stays the same. Rezoning fees, we put as a base from 0 to 4.9 acres, 800. We kept it the same, plus, and then we just renamed them to base fees. So it'd be the same plus base fees. Excuse me. 5 to 9.99 acres would be 1,000. Same plus the base fees, and then the 10 acres or more would be 1,000 plus $50 an acre over. For planned development, in addition to the rezoning fees above, 5 acres or more would be 500 plus acreage rezoning and charges. Same thing here, plus the fees. Other fees would be the conditional use permit, and I believe that's the one that y'all had more issues with that you wanted to go over. It would be the 200, what it was before, and they had this caveat where it would say, in addition to rezoning fees if applicable. And then all we did from now is keep the same plus the base fees, which that was bringing it up to the 800 plus 200 would be the 1,000. Variance or appeal of administrative decision, 200, and the variance is only 200 plus the base fee as well. And then administration decision moved to the flat fee application. And some of these increases were based on items that have happened in the past. So as I'm coming in and I'm noticing I look at the past of what variances are coming in, conditional use permits that are coming in, and I've noticed that most of the community were using those items as to get around the code. And so a lot of cities, to stop that from happening, what they do is they increase the fee of those items to be able to reduce that happening. So right now, as we have them for $1,000, excuse me, it's at $1,000. Some people will come in, and a lot of them want to build in their setbacks. That's not allowed. And so they'll be like, well, I'll just go get a variance. And then I tell them how much the variance is, and they'll be like, well, maybe I can move my building just a little bit further down, and then I'll be okay. I can still use my building how I want to, and I don't have to pay the $1,000. So people are more amenable at looking at differences of what they want to do with their property if they know that there's something higher that they have to pay and they don't want to. When it's really low, it just gets to the point to where people, $200 is nothing. I can just pay it, and I can get my way and get around the code. And that's one of the main reasons why those fees were increased. On the second page that you have.
Can we stay on this in a minute?
Sure.
Before we move on? On the rezoning fees, your .449 acres, $800. Is that $800 in addition to $800 now?
No.
It says same plus base fee.
Right, so whatever the application will be, plus the base fees. So the same as in, the price is staying the same, but now we're just changing it to base fees. We're just changing the name.
Okay, then let's go to conditional use permit.
Mm-hmm.
You get $200 plus $800 equals $1,000.
Yes.
I have a big issue with that, and you know that.
We too expensive?
Yes, it is. And I will just make a recommendation to the council. What about a flat $400?
Well, see, this is the thing. To me, this is the way I see it, okay? Like all these fees right here or whatnot, they need to be according to the neighboring cities. Because at the end of the day, if you get anybody that wants to come and build anything here in Aransas, or to build the same thing that you're gonna build in Ingleside, and the one you're gonna build in Aransas, you're gonna spend 3 times the amount for you to get it done versus anybody else.
I agree.
Have you studied
You know
the
what I
other
agree.
cities?
That's why
Yeah,
it's-
around
What
us?
it does, it creates, more of an expense for them to build something.
And
But
want to
it's
go
like-
somewhere else?
Yeah, it'll
So
deter
you
them
gotta
from
go
wanting to
over
come
there
here.
Because you're gonna save $3,000, I'm just throwing a number out there. You're gonna spend $3,000 over there, and here, they're gonna spend $6,000 to accomplish the same thing.
And we lose.
Yes.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, this is the same thing as a transfer station. They're not there to make money. They're there to break even, okay? Where the city's gonna make money if they come into town and they build something, whether it be a rooftop, you're gonna get tax dollars. You're gonna get, sales taxes because they live here in the city versus, yes. To me,
Okay.
it's very important on the permitting process of how much money you actually gonna spend to do a project. We don't need to nickel and dime every developer that comes in.
No, but we
Whoever
also,
come in and build.
we're not getting any
Okay,
profit from
that's
this.
just my opinion.
This is the same thing as the transfer station is, that we're just trying to break even to when it comes to our fees. Because if there's an issue, I need to contact Mr. Isasi.
Yes,
Mr. Isasi is not
somewhere-
free.
Somewhere down there, I
Mhm.
saw the difference between what we charge
Mhm.
and what Ingleside, Rockport, and Portland charges.
Mhm.
And we have all the lines filled up, and they don't even have 50% of them filled. with
So
vendors.
you should have
That's all I'm
received
saying.
this
Yeah,
as well.
something you have in your hand.
You should have received this as well. And I can't
So all the
speak,
All the ones that Aransas Pass charges,
Mhm.
then you have the other one, they're not even half the amount.
half the amount,
Yeah,
or,
you got it in your hand.
but I think what you mean is, they don't
All
have
the
enough
lines are
spaces.
filled.
Yes.
They don't charge for every single thing that we charge for.
Right, but we do not have people on staff to be able to do those things, and some of them do. And so sometimes when we don't have people on staff, and we need to contract out, then that comes extra money out of the city's pocket.
I don't know. That's just my opinion, that.
Mhm.
Good Lord.
Well, Ram, can we do this then? I'm in agreement with you on the fees, 100%. Did you have the fees from other cities around us, Ingleside,
Yeah.
Rockport?
Yes, like I said, this was given to y'all in the packet a couple of times.
How long ago?
It was given a couple of times and then pulled
Well,
off
it's
of
probably at
the
home then because
docket,
it's-
so.
I don't have it with me.
I'm sorry.
But you don't have it either.
I don't
So I'm
have it.
sorry
I already
too.
know it.
Linda, do you want me to get some?
But what you're
Sure.
telling me, Ram, you're telling me that we're higher.
Way higher, Attorney.
Yeah.
It's,
That's fine, please.
so I'll give you a couple of
Look
examples.
at the blue, look at the.
Ram, I can't see that, I'm sorry.
We got everything. The blue one, it's only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4. The other one's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or whatever. Ours is completely full.
Well, and what that Ram and what that causes is going on here. They'll issue a
I don't have it
permit.
with me.
Okay, you're good to go, and they'll send
Little
somebody out
better.
to look at it 3, 4 days later. Well, we forgot about this permit for sprinklers. You need this. Well, you gotta get
No,
a,
I just went and pulled the permit and Ingleside
No.
built the house over there.
that's how it is.
So
I mean,
here,
And it only took me 2 days to pull the permit.
You've had businesses in this town that are almost finished, and they'll come in and say, well, we forgot you need a sprinkler system up here, and you gotta start tearing girders
I
out,
know.
and they're 60 grand. There's too many hoops to jump through, and you got too many hoops, some of them are gonna get missed, and it's gonna bite us at the end.
Ram, I'm with you, man.
That's money. Thank you.
I am. I think it's too much too.
Yes, sir. I'm just saying.
But what's
we-
the-
we-
what's
we
the
need-
answer?
We need to come into agreement on to be even with the other towns, not necessarily even with the cheapest one, but be in competition with the charges within our neighboring towns.
With a good reasonable rate.
Yeah.
Reasonable rates and
And we need to do like you said, Ram, where we got less boxes across, so somebody applies for a permit here, we'll see you in 2-3 weeks for your
Yeah,
certificate
okay,
of
I'm curious,
occupancy.
Brenda. How much is it how much is it in fees to pull a permit to build a house? And I'm talking about all the permits.
I don't know, because I don't work that
From
department.
start to finish.
I don't work
Lot.
that department. Mine's only planning.
A lot.
Okay, my bad. All right.
How much is it now, Ram? Because you'll know,
I
I'm
mean,
close.
it's higher than before,
Yeah.
but
Those are different fees from these
It
fees.
depends on square footage.
yes, the square
So,
footage.
so
determines
mine's
on the
also
permit.
gonna consider the valuation of the.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
So it's gonna vary,
yeah.
you know.
I tell you, between here and there, we are light years higher than the two towns next to us. Per square footage, a lot higher.
Yeah, and that's between all the permits and stuff.
Yep.
So one example, Corpus, if I do equipment on the roof, I gotta get a WTI, wind form separate.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't get a permit without that information.
Yep.
Yeah, if it's on the ground, it's gonna be different, because it's anchored. So,
Yep.
Oh, yes.
What's the answer then, Ram?
So just to remind them, this has
I just
nothing to
wanna
do
be- I
with
just
building
wanna be
fees.
fair with the people coming into town,
Mhm.
and we can acquire those people to go ahead and build in the city of Aransas Pass.
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, we will gain more by them building something here than them not doing it.
I think,
Okay?
Mayor, well, right now, the fees that we're looking at are the development services fees. What I'm hearing is
Yeah,
that y'all
that's
also have
very
concerns with the
all
building
that.
fees.
Oh, yes.
I mean,
Yes.
those we can revisit and bring those back on another day.
Definitely.
Yes, we can bring those forward, but today,
Yes.
the ones that we're looking at are the development service fees, so.
I don't agree with those either, especially when we go back to the conditional use permit, which is one that I'm concerned about right now, and
What do
he's
you think,
concerned about
Myron?
the other.
I was just gonna say, you just want to match, you take everything off except the things that match Ingleside, right? That's what you're looking
Pretty
at?
much, yeah.
Okay. What is,
Yes, there's the other one.
Brenda, is all the charges you have for the other cities,
Mhm.
do they have those services included in that fee?
I don't know, because if you notice, Ingleside, for a non-public notice plat, they charge $100 plus $75 a lot, or $300 an acre plus engineering costs, and they don't tell you how much the engineering costs are. That's something you're gonna find out once you bring your project, and then they'll tell you, because I tried to call and say, well, what are your engineering costs? And he was like, well, it depends on your project. I go, so you can't give me an answer at how much you would charge for this? And he's like, no. And if you notice, Ingleside, Port A, Portland, they all have the plus engineering costs, plus cost mailing, plus lawyer fees, plus, and we don't have a lot of those like that. We only have two. Right. It's more transparent. You can see exactly what we're charging and how much it's going to be. And so there's a lot of fees that look simpler, but it's actually going to come out maybe more expensive because they're not being honest with their public and letting them know exactly how much those other extra fees are going to be. They're just putting plus this and plus that.
And when you say engineering fees,
Mhm.
that engineer's fees is to verify whatever engineer that the developer got to make sure that that engineer is in compliance with everything else that the city does.
Yes, sir. Mhm.
Mary, we need to hire an engineer.
We do.
I had put that on my
Contract
budget and
one.
y'all took it off.
That will I'll save a lot of money for the city of Aransas Pass.
And for contractors, let me
Try
know.
to do that.
How much is our engineering fees?
Oh, anywhere from a 500
It
to
depends.
1,000, depends on the project you're doing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, I mean.
There's no set price.
As far as just even the civil engineering that we need to engineer our in-store projects that we do with Public
Yeah,
Works,
see, that's not
for
on here.
anything that we have that comes in through here,
What it's gonna be.
through planning.
Every project that is done on grants, bonds, or whatever it is, you have to get an engineer
Yeah.
to verify whatever's gonna be built from
Yeah.
a city point of view. Okay, so we need to hire an engineer.
And a lot of these items
But it
are
takes so
to,
much money.
a lot of these items are also to protect the city, to make sure that development agreements are done correctly, that Mr. Isasi looks, or any lawyer that we have on staff looks at them, and that we have money to cover those items.
So like that, we make sure that we have a security for the city, that everything's done to legal. So all these development fees are more like safety fees, because we have to verify either with, I have to verify either with a lawyer or an engineer to make sure that everything's done to code and to law, so that when the development comes in, they start building, everything's fine. It pretty much protects us from a future lawsuits by doing that.
Okay, what size of a okay, I don't know the answer to this, but I'd like to know, what is the size of the project that comes to the city that doesn't require that engineering cost for the city to verify their engineering stuff? Like, does it,
It's
is
not
it
so
like-
much the size, because it can be something small, like
how much, more, like, yeah,
money-wise?
no, what I'm saying is, because really here is, if a development is coming into town,
Mm-hmm,
right? Not so much into just building a house,
mm-hmm.
right? This is pretty much on a bigger scale
Mm-hmm.
project that they have to come do the variance and change this and change that, to
Mhm.
be able to accomplish that subdivision or whatever it is,
Mhm.
right?
And people that are really coming in to develop, like we have one item that came in front of you all. He could have gone to the county, and he's like, no, I want to be a part of this community. I want to go through the rezoning. I want to go through the variance. And he was willing to do it. And he's like, I've done it in other cities. I know this will be good for your city. I know your codes don't apply, but I'm willing to pay and get this done because it'll bring me money and it'll bring you all money. And people that really know development are willing to pay those fees to get it done right.
They're gonna pay it everywhere.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Why are we having complaints from people about it being so hard to get permits and
Well,
stuff right now?
Well, that's on
I'm
the
not
building
permits.
side.
Huh?
That's on the building
No,
side.
That's on the building side.
Building
It's not real
side's
difficult
crazy.
to get a permit.
Mhm.
What
It may not
comes
be
with
real
it-
difficult, but we're getting complaints
Yeah,
about it.
Oh, no, but what, like when I rebuilt my shop, I had to get engineering because I have to insure it. I won't be able to get insurance if I don't have everything in order. You know, even if I was to add on to the house, I have to have that engineered. I can't just do it overnight.
Yeah, Joe, that's not my question, though. My
no,
question is,
no,
why
I
are people
understand.
complaining?
Well.
The only ones that I've
that's my
seen,
complaint.
most of the people
Yeah.
complain on these fees is just the variance fee and the CUP fees.
Oh,
On all
yeah.
the other ones, I haven't heard any
Yeah, and I've heard
complaints.
people say they apply for a variance to get shot down and they wanna do the same thing. A couple weeks later, they gotta pay the variance fee again.
I think that variance fee that we have is pretty high.
It is high.
It actually, it doesn't take that much.
And I think if somebody pays it and, you know, they go from a board and they just got a wild hair that day, wanna shoot it down, well, I wanna apply again next month, well, here, you gotta pay this. I think maybe put it on a timeline that if you're on something, you, I don't know, give it.
Can you explain
So-
that, please? Because I don't understand that
Like when somebody
process.
goes in front of like the, zoning
PMZ,
board,
ZBA?
yes,
Mhm.
you gotta pay a variance.
Yes.
If the board shoots them down and that
Mhm.
same person wants to apply for the same thing, they have to pay that variance fee all over again for the same project.
Correct.
I don't agree with that.
So in looking at the variance fee and then the conditional use fee, they have a set fee plus a base fee. What, would the council be okay if we remove the base fee?
Or give it a base fee, like,
Well, right now
Mr.
it's
Haskins was
$200.
What about like when you
Mhm.
get a permit, you know, you're allowed 6 months to complete your project, and now you have to reapply for a permit? I mean,
I'm
can you
good
be
with
6 months on that variance?
I'm good with that.
Well, okay, correct me if I'm wrong,
Mhm.
okay? I don't know, but anyway, correct me if I'm wrong, okay? If you get a permit, right,
Mhm.
it's built, and you have 6 months, right?
yes.
Okay. You start the project,
Mhm.
okay, and it's continuing, okay, and they're doing inspections,
Mhm.
okay? Does the permit still expire at the end of 6 months, or it still carries on because you're actually doing the job?
It does
Not every
expire.
job you can build in 6 months.
It does expire, but the building official is flexible. If they come in prior to the permit being finished, he'll extend it another 6 months.
But do you have to repay for everything?
No.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I don't believe there's
As
a
long
fee
as
for
it-
that.
As long as the job continues moving forward.
Right.
Everything's okay.
Mhm.
But if the job comes to a complete halt for
Mhm.
more than 6 months, then you have to come back and
Yes.
review the permits.
Correct. Mhm.
For example, with
Yeah.
houses taking 2 to 3 years to build, that's where you have issues.
Yeah.
Because there's
Well, we
not
only have one of those.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, there's not continuous.
Everybody knows that one.
That shows good faith is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
If somebody needs an extension and we see them working, then we work with them, we want the growth to happen. But when you don't hear from them
That's-
for a
that's
year
what I
until
know.
it's time to renew, and that's the only time you hear from them, it's like, yeah, we're not gonna renew you, you haven't really done much sense. That's why
When
that
you have to
issue
renew
comes
the
up.
permit is when the job has stalled for longer than the permit.
Does that depend on why the job stalled?
A lot of times they stop because they don't have no money.
Yeah.
Brenda,
Or something
why
else
can't,
happened?
instead of 6 months, could it be a year?
You're not using money from
For
the
which
bank,
part?
you use your own personal money, so you start, then you
With a
run out of
permit.
money, then you have to
Oh.
save money.
Instead of
That's not up to
making it
me to
6
say. That,
months?
that would be up to David and Joseph.
I was asking, instead of 6 months, could it be a year?
Oh, he
Right.
ran out of
But-
money
but-
10 years ago.
But Ram,
That's exactly what
The
happened
thing is,
with
it
you.
helps us
but
keep an eye on
Ram,
it.
he's doing it
You know
by
what I'm saying? It's like, hey,
himself.
we'll give you 6
With his own
months.
cash.
It gives
Yeah.
them
So
opportunity to
he
come,
ran
hey,
out
we
of
need to
cash, so
revisit
he
it
could
with you.
continue the
Yeah.
job.
Because I was thinking, if you're building a home, I mean, who builds a home in 6 months?
Yeah.
It's like, it's gonna take longer than 6 months.
But they're still fine, you still gotta wait for the donations.
So, okay, so we can get back to the item.
Oh, yeah.
So-
I'll be saying,
So Mary had asked if you wanted to remove the base fee from the variance in CUP, or did you want to just do like a flat fee like 400 like Randy was saying? Or anything
Because It
else?
seems like the variance and the conditional use permit seems to be the issue
Yeah.
here, so.
What do you think, Ram? Huh? What do you think, Ram?
No, well, so right now, it's $200. It's $200 plus the base fee for both the variance and the conditional use
Remove
permit.
them, remove the base
Just
fee.
remove the base fee?
Ram, remove the base fee.
Sure.
Okay, so then it would be $200 and $200.
All right.
Okay,
That would help a lot.
Yeah.
If not a lot, it'll help some.
okay.
Yeah.
Give me a permit.
All right, so then we'll make that change. We'll make that change and we'll bring it to council at the next
May
meeting
5th.
on May 5th.
Thank you.
Gotcha.
Okay,
Next.
thank you. Okay. All right, let me find my agenda here. Okay, let's see. Okay, so
Yep,
this
it's gonna
next
be good.
item, we wanted to talk about some potential projects that we can do with accrued interest that we have accrued from the certificates of obligation. There's a handout there, or there's a PowerPoint on the screen. On February 12, 2024, the council approved the certificates of obligation in the amount of $16 million. To date, the city has expended a total of about $920,000. 910 were for the architect, and then 10,000 for Weaver and Jacobs. To date, the interest that as of March 31st, the interest that we have earned on that bond is $850,716. During the budget process, street paving was not included. I'm listing two projects for council to consider. One of them is street paving, and the reason I included street paving was because there's been some discussion that there was no street paving in the budget. We were supposed to come back with a tax note. We have not done that. So these are the streets that I'm recommending. There's 13th Street, South Saunders, 8th Street, and Wilson. The total, if we were just to do street paving and do just those streets, would be about $790,000. Another project that I was recommending is fleet for the fire department. As you know, we have had some concerns or some breakdowns with the fire engine truck. So a new fire engine truck would be, we did get quotes today. So these prices are good as of today, is $960,000, and we desperately need a brush truck. So for a new brush truck would be $265,000. That would total to about $1.2 million. Now I know that we only have $850,000 in accrued interest, but if we wanted to do these two, if we wanted to do the fleet, we can pull funds from the bond. That would be, if the council wanted to do those two, the engine truck and the brush truck.
Can I throw out my recommendation? Is just a recommendation. Chief, is this brush truck that Class 6 brush truck?
Yes.
Okay. Well, this is what just a recommendation. I'm recommending the Class 6 brush truck, 2 sets of bunker gear for all the guys because they need bunker gear, and the 13th Street paving project, Wilson Avenue paving project, and that comes up to $829,000.
So let me ask, how much is the bunker gear that you're,
I gave that to you.
Randy, yeah,
I gave that to you. 206,000, I believe.
204,
204.
204,000?
204,000 for 2 sets for each guy.
Okay, well, my thing is that we have had quite a bit of fires around us. We had one here in Rockport, we had one over there in Rockport, and what I've heard in the last few months is that we have had a lot of problems with the engine truck. One particular situation, when they went out, they had to keep a firefighter in the truck revving up the engine because it wouldn't pump the water without having to do that. Okay, the engine truck is already over 10 years old. Maybe it's not so much about the motor and stuff, but it's all the other equipment that's on it. That they normally have a lifetime span of 10 years in an engine truck. Okay, so it's very important for us to make sure that we have an engine truck that we're gonna get a call, and it's gonna get to the place and be able to come back and be able to operate through the whole time. Not have an engine truck that you're gonna take off, let's call it record, because it broke down the road.
And I will remind the council that I believe it was in the month of January, we were without an engine truck. We got a loaner from the city of Portland, and for about a month.
Yes, but we don't need to be borrowing trucks.
Mike, is your trucks up to par right now?
I'm sorry, one more time, sir?
Is your trucks up to par right now? All 3 of them?
The ladder truck is operational, it's in service. Our engine truck is at Siddons Martin right now getting its annual PMs, and I got a laundry list from them yesterday of issues with it. And I've asked them to provide me with a quote to rectify those problems.
Okay, what is, okay, let me see if I can ask this right. How, the engine truck that we have, how reliable is it in a percentage for it to take off from the fire station and get to the fire that is at, and for it not to break down and it to be 100% good to be able to fight that fire? What is that percentage? Is there like a slight percentage that it's not gonna make it to the fire?
I mean, as it is right now, it's got a good it's got a decent percentage to get to the fire. I can't say it's not.
Because the truck is not reliable.
Yeah, I can't say that it's not reliable because there's a lot of variables involved.
You're answering the question.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, Mike, Mike, has the main thing been wrong with that, the DEF system on it? Is that what keeps cratering out on that engine?
Oh yeah, that's a problem for all these trucks across the country. That DEF system is the worst thing
ever.
ever.
House fire. We need a brush truck to fight the fire in the brush.
Well, that's what we got.
We've been having here lately.
Well, but that's why we got interlocal agreements with everybody around here. We can't fight a fire. If all this burns up, we can't put them out with 2 trucks.
But if we have the proper equipment, we can start fighting it, because look at the, correct me if I'm wrong, the fire that happened here in Rockport, my understanding was that it was a very small fire. But by the time the fire department got there, next thing you know, it's like a humongous fire. Okay? Because the response time was bad. Okay? So, that's what I'm talking about. It's like, we're gonna have a house fire, but the engine truck didn't make it, or made it, but it pooped out during the fire. That's all I'm saying. To me, the engine truck is important, the brush truck is important, your bunker gear is important too. And everything ought to be included in that aspect for the safety of the citizens of Aransas Pass. Street, we can always go back, get another
Tax note.
certificate of occupancy, well, not occupancy.
It's obligation, like a tax note.
Okay, to be able to repave all the streets. We have a new budget year coming up, and then we can whoever's on office, to overlook
Yeah.
at the whole deal to see how we can actually get some money to be able to do infrastructure itself.
May I say something?
Yes.
All right. So, what is the resale value of that engine truck that is not, because obviously we're gonna sell it. We're gonna buy this new engine. If we were to buy a new engine, we would try to resell that. What would be the resale value more or less on what you think we would be able to get for that?
I wasn't prepared for that question at all. We would have to get with like Renee Bates or somebody like that and see
Yes.
what the going rates are for those. And then with the given issues and historical past of that truck,
That's the owner that will take responsibility.
I'll tell you
So,
that-
if you were to approve the purchase of the engine and the brush truck, let's declare that engine that we have right now as surplus, and let's put it on auction. Let's see what that money comes in. Let's see what money we get, and let's see how we appropriate, whether it's for the bunker
That's a good
gear or for the streets. In the meantime, your money at the bank is gonna continue to accrue interest every month. We made $800,000 since we got the bond to now.
And it's gonna sit there for a
It's
while.
gonna sit there continuing to earn interest on you. We don't necessarily have to go get a tax note. We are in budget season. Let's see how much more interest we can accrue by the time we're working on the budget to see how many more streets we can pave. Let's see how much we can sell this equipment for.
Sandra, I agree with you 100%, because now that money's gonna sit there for restart the whole project of the fire department, which is probably gonna be another year or so.
So, and
To
you're gonna
remodel
accrue
it,
some
for
more interest on there, and then we can
engineering. We're gonna
appropriate
carry
that.
the same amount of interest for the same money that's gonna be there, that's
Yes.
already there.
Correct.
Okay,
So,
can I say something?
Yes, sir.
That's all well and good. But if we can't furnish these uniforms for these firefighters to go out there and fight these fires safely, then we have done them a disservice.
No, but we have to do
Not
that
on-
too, Randy.
Huh?
We have to get those two.
Yeah, that's in there.
that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
we have to-
Yes.
Okay, that
Well,
wasn't brought
yes.
up, so I
Well,
didn't-
what I'm saying is, if we appropriate at least right now, if you do the engine and you do the brush truck, because we need to order those. Those have a lead time. In the meantime, we'll declare that other engine as surplus, and we'll sell it at auction. Let's see how much money we get from that. And then maybe we can come back and appropriate those revenues, those funds, to buy the bunker gear and see how much more money in the meantime we get on the interest to buy that gear for
Like
them.
Mary said, that money that we need for the bunker gear, and I agree with you 100%, the money that is needed for the bunker gear, just take it out of the bond that we already have.
I was gonna
I'll tell you,
suggest
Randy,
Really, it's not even a bond, it's a certificate of obligation that we have, it's not a bond.
it's debt.
Yeah.
I'll tell you,
But there's a difference between a
I'll tell you the
bond and a
trucks,
certificate of obligation.
where you're
There's a big
thinking,
difference.
you're looking at the wrong truck.
Hmm?
You're looking at the wrong fire engine. That ladder truck, and you might agree with me, that was the biggest
I
mistake
don't wanna talk
purchase.
about that, we're
I'm
not talking
serious.
about that letter truck.
Well, it's a problem. We
We
need to
still
sell
own that
that
truck,
thing.
yeah.
You know
We're
what,
still-
yes.
It is.
We
something
still owe on it?
Yeah, we're still-
Maybe we ought to sell it.
I'll go put a sign on it right now with
Well,
two
right
bars.
now, the thing about it is, we don't have a engine truck that is 100% ready to go, or we're really unsure if it's 100% ready, because we don't know if it's gonna get there.
What's the main deals on that list? Do you know offhand that they're
there are some
looking at?
safety issues, inoperable mirrors, there's a transmission leak, there was steering issues. So if you're
Chalk
screaming.
it up to POS, in other words.
No, that's just common
It-
mistakes. I mean, it's
those
like-
those trucks get beat up, riding down the road with all that weight in it, with all the water and equipment and everything.
Okay, then Rand, why don't we just, and Jason, why don't we just cut the streets until the budget, do the trucks, do the bunker gear, and move on?
Yeah. If
And
we
then wait
did.
on the engine truck.
Yes.
Yes, if we
Oh,
did
I
the
would agree
engine
with that.
truck, if we do the engine truck, the brush truck, and the bunker gear, that's 1.4 million.
Yeah.
We've got 850, so
Okay,
we
well,
would.
we can pull that other
And we
200
can pull,
something out
well,
of
it would
something
be
else.
more, it would be more like
Out of the-
600,000.
Out of the certificate of obligations, we can make up the difference, which is out of the $16 million, to go up to the 1.4 million, to buy the bunker gear, to buy the brush truck, and to buy the
Okay,
engine
then
truck.
that's fine with me. I would rather have the safety than worry about a paved street right now.
Yes, because in true reality, we have a gifting, equipment.
I'm sorry?
A gifting equipment to fight the fire.
My deal is
It might
if-
work and it might not.
My deal is if you have a piece of heavy equipment that's 10 years old, it's not even broke in. And when stuff breaks, you fix it. You
And we're
don't
talking
say
about,
sell it and buy
when
a
you say
brand
that,
new
we're
one.
only talking about the engine.
No, I'm talking about the
motor
engine.
itself.
I'm talking about the whole truck.
Oh, no. That's not what has always been said. The maximum lifetime of a fire truck is 10 years, and it's not talking about the motor. The motor can go on for 20 years to go, but at this point, this particular one has broken down, I don't know how many times, before it gets to the fire, or when it gets to the fire, and then they can't bring it back from the fire because it broke down.
You
That's what
don't
I'm
go
talking
by
about.
how old it is, you go by how many hours.
To
are
me,
on.
the safety of the citizens of Aransas Pass and everything else is more important than putting up or repairing a pothole. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. As Sandra said, we're gonna continue to accrue interest, so we can see where we're at maybe in 6 months and see how much, if we can come back in 6 months
Okay,
and see
can
how
we
much.
just get the new engine truck? And the bunker gear?
Yes.
Whatever we do, I want the bunker gear, because these guys are out
Yeah.
I
on
agree with you.
rats.
Yeah.
So-
I agree with you.
Yeah, that's included.
Yeah, because you need that. That's
So-
for the safety of the firefighter.
So
Why
what's-
don't we do this then, the bunker gear, the brush truck, and you're talking about 6 months, do the engine then?
Okay.
Ma'am?
What about that? I mean, we're still gonna get it.
Well, as long as we get it.
That's
as
my
soon as
deal, is
possible.
put it off
See,
a
'cause
little
the
bit.
longer we wait on the engine truck, the more expensive we're gonna get. And there ain't no doubt about that.
Well, that's gonna happen with everything, Ram.
Yeah, especially with vehicles. Oh my,
It's a 28-month bill.
and I can tell you, because I went out looking for a new vehicle and I'm.
So I will,
Shut up.
Council, if I may, in speaking with that vendor, there's an opportunity, there are 2 trucks rolling off the line in September that we could bypass that 22-month delivery time.
22, 28 month?
There's 2 trucks coming off the line and agencies are fighting for those trucks, and if we can call dibs on that thing, we won't have to wait 22 months for a new engine.
How
And
much?
I'm sorry,
How much?
at the price listed on the
Who builds it?
960, it's a Spartan truck.
So you wouldn't have the problems like you do with a Pierce truck where you got like one place to get it worked on.
Yeah. We're looking at other vendors for maintenance also.
Yeah.
We got a lot of wheels in the cog moving. As far as the resale of the vehicle, if we have to wait for delivery of a fire engine until September or October timeframe, that truck couldn't go on the block until then, and then you may not see realized revenue from that for quite a while, if it sells.
Yeah.
Another option to think about would be to use that vehicle as a reserve truck or a training truck or something.
I don't know. I want
That's
an engine
1.1
truck,
mil.
Brush truck and. the
So,
bunker gear.
okay, so if I'm trying to figure out what the consensus is. So if the consensus is to do a fire truck, that for the engine truck, the brush truck, and the bunker gear,
Mhm.
that's 1.4.
That's me.
Okay. Is that the consensus of the full council?
It's not what I wanted, but I will accept it.
Yeah, they still get the gear. you
Yeah.
know, so.
I don't wanna go into debt with a tax note.
No, we're not.
We're not?
We ain't gonna go into debt with nothing.
Can you explain where that's coming from?
You
I
mean
think
this?
he's talking about
This is-
pulling it off the original 16 million.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
This
okay.
is where this is coming from. This is coming from the interest. We have 850,000 in accrued interest, and the balance we would pull from the bond, or the certificates of obligation.
$900,000 on a matter of opinion whether we needed a fire station or not. So we down already almost $1 million.
Okay, like
with a matter
the
of
fire
opinion.
truck, we don't
That's
wanna
what
talk
I-
about it,
okay.
Ram.
Cool, thank you.
So let me just let me just correct myself. Earlier I said that we still
Oh,
owe
that
the ladder
was
truck
over a
that's
matter
been
of
paid.
opinion.
It's paid.
We're having right now a
Okay.
difference of opinion. So let's make sure we get the right thing going and not spending money and then looking back and, oh my gosh, I don't wanna do that no more.
Should've thought about that in the first place.
Okay. So if that's a consensus, we'll bring that, I mean, I believe we can, Sandra, we can move forward with,
If the consensus of the council,
yeah.
We hear you.
if the consensus of the council tonight is to do exactly as Mary stated, then we'll go ahead and issue a PO tomorrow for the procurement of these items, and then we'll bring a budget amendment for you at our next regular council meeting for you to formally approve that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Is that good?
Good.
Get out of here.
Okay.
Get out of here.
Adjourn the meeting.
Make a motion. we
Meeting
adjourn.
adjourned. Second.
So, no, make the motion, somebody.
I did.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Y'all have a good night.
Thank you all.
No, you said wait.
Yes, sir, we need you in the truck. It's okay, it's a matter of opinion.